curses, which are gameplay modifiers on the dungeons that are mechanical extra layers that you have to deal with, and these keep rotating for each difficulty in each dungeon you do. So there's always some new twist to the dungeons that you're doing, all the way up to, well, currently at least difficulty 30 before you start to see repeats. Yes, so jumping in.
Yep. And part of this is, in a lot of MMOs, this content, this high complexity PvE content, this is something that's gated behind hundreds of hours of leveling up. And for us, we want to make sure that this is approachable for newer players, as well as something quick to jump in for veterans. So that's part of our way of slowly adding, kind of taking off the training wheels and adding that complexity for players.
Just one thing before we start here, I would love if we could just change a setting in the menus and the graphics. It's the
Oh,
UI
yes.
scaling, which is causing some noise. It's a bug we have right now. So I would love it if you could go into your main menu, and then go into settings, and then go into graphics, and then on the right, the sixth option, fifth is resolution scale. It's
Oh,
at
it's already at
200. Oh, it
100.
is at 100 already.
Yeah,
Perfect. Okay, great.
Awesome. You can close
nice.
it down.
Thank you.
Hmm? Hmm?
There's a lot of stuff in settings that we have not implemented yet. I don't know specifically about those. Andre, do you know what that is?
Um,
Whiz here.
This is a question I would love to ask our
Tech director.
TAD, yeah,
Yeah.
or TD. Yeah, I hope so, would be my answer. It's a good thing. I'll definitely check into that.
Yeah, I think it's something that right now, at least you've got the creatives and the creative leads of the team here. So we've been focusing on really making sure that the gameplay is as tight and readable as possible. But of course, there's a bunch of things we want to do to provide optimization and make sure that things look like a super high quality experience. We'll head down this left path. This dungeon is a bit non-linear. It's got 3 bosses. And this first thing we interacted with here was setting up a campsite. So if we die, we can respawn back here. But we'll head down this left path through the jungle. I'm just gonna pull these guys from here over. Go. Yes. Yeah. So the kill score kind of totals the amount of enemies that we should kill in a dungeon. So we can't just find some clever route to skip to the bosses. If you hit M on your keyboard, you can see the map here. And when you mouse over enemies, you can kind of see what percentage of the kill score they fill. So I, as a tank, who's kind of leading the direction we're going, can pick out which routes I want to lead the party through, and kind of communicate that with the team. Oops, shoot. Misclick on my side.
You have to have 100% and kill all the bosses to complete the dungeon. But there's a lot more enemies than 100% in the dungeon. So the intention is, especially when you get to the higher tier kind of leaderboard chasing, is part of the strategy is what is a good route through the dungeon? What packs should we skip? What are more dangerous or maybe worth taking, even though they're dangerous, using for cooldowns and all that? Yeah. Yes, the time. This is actually a bug because we don't activate the timer until difficulty 4 and above. It's just on always now. We're gonna fix that any day. But when the timer gets turned on, yes, then you also have to beat the dungeon within the timer to get to the next difficulty, but you're still going to get all the loot that you would get from the dungeon, regardless of if you beat the timer or not.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but the timer affects the score as well. So when players start to get to the really high difficulties, it's going to be a matter of, I mean, practically milliseconds is what's going to determine who's number one on the leaderboard.
Pulling this guy back to the next group.
You can see to the left as well, we have all kinds of metrics for players to look at, just to be able to see how they are improving and how different talents or stats on their gear is affecting their damage or damage mitigation or healing. So you can see each of us in the bottom there above the action bar, you see our health bars. So I'm the purple dude, and you can see on the damage meter what how we're doing on that damage, and then if you mouse over those, you can actually see a breakdown of what abilities are contributing to your damage that you're doing. And this is also really important if you're going to get into optimizing your gameplay and being competitive and being able to learn how to do really high difficulty, but it's not as important when starting out, because of course we tune the game to be very forgiving in the beginning.
Nice.
Yeah, then you're familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the barriers to play for a lot of players in some of these other big games is like the DPS meter. That's not fundamental in every one of these MMOs. It's something that you have to go offline or online, and you gotta download add-ons and do all that, which makes it that as a player trying to find your role in the community, it can be a bit difficult to find your footing. So we don't really have any intentions of allowing players to create add-ons for our game. We want to make sure that we're providing everything that veteran players kind of want and expect in the game itself, to kind of make sure we have a level playing field for everybody. Hmm? Hmm?
I think that toxicity is always something that there's work to do within. I think that the solution is not to remove the ability for players to understand how to get better, because I mean, there's different types of games. Some games it doesn't matter, your performance doesn't matter, but in a game where your performance matters, you need to have information to be able to know what to change to improve, or you'll just start to hit your head against the wall, basically. I think toxicity is always a factor if there's any kind of competitiveness, and just removing data. Personally, I don't think that's the solution. I think that needs to be worked with in other ways.
And I think we're trying to find lots of other ways of getting ahead of that as well. In a lot of the other big MMOs or games where you're playing with a group, inevitably a meta is going to be established, right? Where there's the characters to play. But in a lot of these other games, one of the reasons why you may choose one character or one class over another is because, oh, well, this one here gets this utility ability. That's really important to have at high levels of difficulty. For us, we've kind of moved a lot of those big utility, big group impact things like mass dispels or other things to equipable items that you unlock in higher difficulties, so that anyone can bring uh, battle resurrection or a dispel or other big things to a party. They've got that utility. One thing you might notice as well that we're doing is we're trying to look into how we can handle some non-verbal communications. So Axel and I, if you look at one of these Buccaneers and you hit V as in Victor on the keyboard, you'll put your hero portrait next to their name. So if you want to select one of these guys and hit V on the keyboard, this puts your name there. Yeah, it's a bit of an assist.
It tracks your interrupt actually. So if you use your interrupt now, when he casts his next ability, which is that one. If you use your interrupt ability now, which is your shift 2, it's okay.
We'll get the next one.
You can do it on the Dread Mage here. So if you put your marker up, or you can see when we interrupt ours, you're going to see that you can see the cooldown on our interrupt, so we can more easily manage, like I use my interrupt now, Breton used theirs, so 12 seconds left. So if you put up your interrupt marker, we can help each other know to interrupt. And this is another example of like at low difficulties, interrupting is not that important, but when you start to get to high interrupts, the magic damage is the most dangerous. So not interrupting is one-shot stuff if you get really high up in difficulties. So it's really important for players to be able to coordinate and work together to make sure they have interrupts for all the enemy abilities. But that comes later. Yeah. CCs as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll notice now, like for the playtest we're having in a couple of weeks, we're gonna have 15 abilities available for each of the heroes. So you unlock more and more abilities as you get higher in difficulties. And what you're starting out with is kind of just interrupt, a movement, and some basic core kit. But then a lot of the abilities that come are CCs, utilities, but also cooldowns and things like that. So filling out your kit basically.
Yep. We're approaching our first boss here. Don't stand in the bad stuff. You'll see it, and we'll call it out. And we'll see how we go. That quick draw shots that she's doing, we cannot dodge, but this we can. There we go.
Nope. Only instant casts.
Oh, so now everybody wants to get into the middle, directly on her.
A lot of damage. Oh. Fine.
All right, we got her. I'll keep her away from you, best I can at least. There we are. Nice. Finish her off.
There we go.
Alright, phase 2. We need to run across the deck of the ship, back to the front, avoiding some of these spectral ghosts and the cannon shots. Yeah, we got you. There we go.
Nice.
Ooh, watch out. Spinny stuff.
Yeah, sorry. Try to bring her away from you guys. But everywhere I go, you're there.
So also as we are increasing the difficulty, bosses and enemies in the dungeon are also learning new abilities. So what we're seeing here is this boss's base kit, and then as you get higher, she'll get some new tricks that make the boss a little bit more interesting, or when you're ready for the increased challenge.
Go. go. Finish her off. She's also periodically sending someone to the back of the ship. Oops.
Yeah, 3 seconds.
Coming up this
She's gonna
way.
do her quick draw after this, and then she's gonna send one of us. But it's not me this time. Haha, because I got sent last time. Bye, Ryan.
Oh no.
Watch out. Almost got her. 3%.
Yeah. Go. There we are. Perfect timing.
Whew.
Welcome back.
So first boss, and in this is a dungeon. So in dungeons we have 3 bosses to kill. They take around 20 to 30 minutes to complete, depending on gear and difficulty and skill level and all of that, of course. And then we also had adventures in the game, which are 1 boss dungeons that take about 10 to 12 minutes to complete. Both formats give you, like, you can compete in both. Both give leaderboard score. Both give great loot and all the stuff. To get high on the leaderboards, you need an average of all your dungeons. So if you're specifically chasing leaderboard score, then you're doing all of them. But if you're someone who maybe half an hour is a bit too much of an investment to put in, you can just jump in and do the 10-minute ones and still get the full progression and loot and all of that. Yeah, so not crafting specific, I guess you could call it kind of crafting. We have a bunch of different progression systems. So first of all, there's talents, which are hero specific, so you'll unlock ways to kind of customize your hero in different ways. There's also the gear itself has different types of stats on them. You'll be familiar with that from other RPGs, like crit and haste and expertise and all those kinds of things. We also have, once you get a little bit higher in difficulty, you'll start to get transmutation resources. This is kind of a crafting system where you can use transmutation resources and some of the gold you earn to transmute items that you've gotten that you don't need. So it kind of functions like a bad luck protection thing for loot. If you keep getting the same cloak all the time, you can transmute those cloaks, and if you're lucky, you can re-roll them into something you really need.
Yeah.
Then we also have, you can scrap loot, giving you resources, and you can upgrade loot as well. So there's a few different ways to kind of progress your character's power. One of the bigger systems is also once you get gems and sockets unlocked, and we're doing a lot more with gems and sockets than what most RPGs do, so it's not just stats on those gems. The gems also unlock new defensive abilities and offensive abilities, passive ones, procs and stuff, and do some cool stuff with your character as well. Yeah. Yes. Talents, yeah.
Yeah, that way we can make sure, even though we have a limited hero roster at the launch of the game, it should feel still pretty distinct how I play my Helena versus how another player might play theirs.
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
We're not doing multi-role heroes, at least not for the first time, foreseeable future. Right now we're focusing on getting a tight core of heroes that deliver on kind of the classical RPG fantasies of big two-handed barbarians and healing priests and shield and sword tanks and stabby rogues and all of that. One of the benefits of us doing this is a hero game, and you don't create your character, is over time we're going to be able to explore some really fun and crazy ideas when it comes to heroes. Like, we could do a character that's a slime blob that clones into other heroes and can use their abilities for a while, or any kind of stuff that we want to explore there eventually, but starting out with kind of a good, strong foundation of heroes. We haven't set an exact number, but it'll be somewhere not quite 10, 8 or 9 maybe at launch. And then, of course, planning to regularly release new heroes in live service. and dungeons and
Yeah,
adventures
yeah.
and other types of formats of playing as well. Eventually, I mean, there's lots of
Mhm.
stuff we could explore there.
Yeah, we. Oh no, I was just gonna say we're really wanting to build this game with our community. So part of us wanting to get it into players' hands as soon as possible is for them to help us kind of feel out. Hey, what do we want? How do we make the best game for you? Uh, so we're hoping to have a really close connection there. Oops.
Whoops. Yes, that's the plan.
Yeah.
And premium is a plan, so it's not free to play. It's not subscription based.
Mhm.
It'll be premium.
For this boss, he operates a bit differently. That first boss we did was a bit more classic for the genre. This boss here, we're experimenting with something a little bit different. So as you guys are dealing damage to him, you're knocking gold off of him, and the tank is running around pushing this treasure ball into the piles of treasure that's knocked off him.
And the reason for that is eventually he's going to do an ability called Horde. Oh, this one hurts. We need to bunch up for some healing. Nice. He's going to do Horde soon. And when he does that, he sucks in all the little gold piles that are on the ground, and those heal him. So if the tank isn't pushing the ball to suck up those gold piles, he'll just heal back to full health. So that's why the tank needs to keep that ball rolling around to suck up the gold piles. So now he's starting to suck stuff in, but Breton has done a great job. His big juicy ball there, the Katamari ball of doom, gonna hit him in the face for quite a bit of damage instead of healing. So
Stuns him for a period of time as well, based on how big we got the ball. And in higher levels of difficulty, there's additional mechanics. So the next setup is big tornado, big tornadoes of treasure start swirling around the arena, knocking the ball and players around, so adding some extra chaos.
oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good? Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, queue times has been a big part of that decision. 4 instead of 5. 5 is the kind of classical dungeon format. It's also, like, we experimented with 3, but what we noticed is that when you go down to 3, you only have one, because we really want to lean into the Holy Trinity, which is the tank, healer, DPS roles. And when you go 3, you're really losing like an X factor, like a permutation of the kind of setups you can do with your team. So 4 felt like a good number, and just from playtest we felt like we're not missing anything with playing with 4 instead of 5 players. It still feels like we're able to give the same complexity, basically.
Yeah, there's a sweet spot in terms of mechanics.
Yeah.
That felt right.
Nice.
There we are.
Okay,
Very
we
good.
have 13 minutes.
Yes. I'm wondering if we skip to the last boss, give an
Do
attempt at him.
you want to see the last boss, or do you want some time for Q&As? How do you feel?
Mhm.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep, I'm going to teleport us there. Boop. There we are. So don't stand into the death and kill the ads. At a certain point, we'll call it out. He's going to cast an ability called High Tide, which floods the arena. It's going to wash everybody who's not tied to the anchor out to sea and kill you instantly. So here in a little bit, we'll call it out, and I need everybody to stack up in the middle and click on his anchor when he begins to cast.
Right click.
Right click.
Oh, it's only right click.
Suspect
I think. I don't know. I don't know what happens otherwise.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, right.
Axel, you left click. Axel left click.
No.
Click on the anchor.
Getting close, and then click the anchor.
Right click it.
Nice.
It is right click.
Nice.
Now we're gonna
Cool.
watch out for the sharks.
So stay close together. Try not to use any dashes.
Right,
Swing
if
left.
we get too far away from each other, the chain breaks.
Swing right.
So let's... Oh no, you got a shark. Oh, I got a shark.
Oh.
Oh god, you got a shark.
Oh. Everyone gets a shark.
Okay, heal us.
Oh.
Heal us.
Yep.
Swing to
Working
the left.
on it.
There we are. Let's
Yeah, we
kill
gotta
the
kill
sharks.
Shark hat.
There we go. Back on him. So as a team, we need to coordinate and swing kind of to the left and to the right, staying together to prevent the chain from breaking as we dodge sharks. Or else you get a shark hat. The most dangerous hat.
But it's so beautiful.
Oh, I missed my interrupt because you stunned it.
Take
You
that.
need to interrupt the next one. Nice.
There we go. High tide coming in about 5-6 seconds.
Yeah, you can see to the right there on... Oh, yeah, right. Let's click the anchor first and then we can
Okay.
look.
Let's
Click
do it.
anchor.
Nice.
Go.
Stay together. And we can
Okay.
still do damage here. As long as we're staying
Let's
together.
swing left.
Keep left. Keep
Swing
right.
right.
Aye.
And right
Stay
again.
right. And left.
Ooh.
Ah,
Ah, I got a shark. Oh no.
It's okay, I got
Right.
my ultimate. I
Help me.
Take care of the shark. There we go.
Thank you.
There we go. Use my ult as well.
Oh, cool. Oh, this is a new ultimate.
Cool.
Got an interrupt for the dude. There we go.
Try to stay close to me so I can pull the aggro off easier.
Yeah, very nice.
Nice.
Boss is almost down.
All right.
Cool. Let's just burn the boss down. And nice.
Boom. And we'll do this.
Very good. At the end of a dungeon, you get your loot for completing it. So if you right-click on the chest, currently debug UI, but you can click on your items to collect them, and on the right-hand side, you can kind of see what everybody in your party got.
No trading yet. That'll be
Yep.
something we'll look into potentially live service.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But at this point, everybody can hit the ready to return or ready to exit to kind of return back to our player hub, where we can equip our gear. If we got gems and sockets, we can start to outfit ourselves. And because we just completed a +1, we've unlocked our new ultimate ability on the lower left with X. And as we progress through these, we're going to also get new mounts, talents, new cosmetic items. We can see here Axel has used dev commands to give himself some high-end items. So you can kind of see the level of cosmetics changing the looks of the player character. Yeah. But maybe with 8 minutes left, have you got any questions for us today? Hmm?
Yes. Yep.
That is what this is. So right now, there's only 4 people on our kind of build here, but we'll be able to see up to about 20 to 30 other players. We aren't loading every single person into these because they'll get real full real quick. But you should be able to see and be able to connect and talk to, interact with other players here in the hub.
Yeah, I
And
just
anytime.
the
Oh, go
park,
ahead, Axel.
for example. But I'm still here in the hub. And if someone logged in now, I mean now it's just the 4 of us playing, so it's just one of these hubs that spun up server side. But if someone logged in now in the team, for example, they would spawn in here with us until we hit the cap for the stronghold, and then a new one spins up, basically.
Yeah. Hmm?
Yes.
Mhm.
We're intentionally actually doubling down on PvE co-op. When we don't do PvP, it allows us a lot more creative freedom and balancing wise as well. It puts us in a place where we can really do some cutting edge stuff in regards to the PvE experience. So Fellowship, as the name implies, Fellowship is really about the co-op experience.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that we're super interested in.
We're much more
What
interested in. Yeah.
we've talked about, like maybe there's a ghosting mode so you can play even asymmetrically offline against other people's runs. We've talked about live, some kind of like a tournament mode like thing. We've talked about special game
Mhm.
modes where you might be in the same map racing towards a boss in the same. Yeah, there's lots of cool stuff that I mean, this is for the future, nothing we've
Yeah.
done now,
Yeah.
but definitely we like that stuff. Unreal latest
5. Yeah.
Uh,
5.21 or whatever it is.
Yep.
yep.
Mhm.
Not an ETA, uh, but it seems like a natural step at some point. But yeah, not something that we've nailed down a date or anything for at this time. Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's definitely very intimately connected to the gamepad support. So yeah, first we would do gamepad support, and like I said, that's not in the. We don't have a date for when we would explore that, but that we would do that first and then look at console in that case if that's in the cards. But yeah, we don't
Mhm.
have a solid answer on that yet. We'll see.
Yeah.
We're not planning any kind of, I mean, some form of microtransaction, of course, we will be introducing in the game eventually. We're not in a rush to kind of unravel a huge microtransaction plan from the very beginning. We're going to take it a little bit slow. Uh, we are not gonna be we're not going to be selling anything, monetizing anything that is content, like no, not dungeons or progression features or heroes or anything like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm. Yeah. We want to work with our community to understand, hey, if you love this game and we love this game, what makes sense for you all to spend money on so we can keep making this?
Yeah, I mean the natural stuff is, I mean, obvious stuff at the top of our list, right? Like skins, mounts, little pets that follow you around, emotes. None of this is like solid. We don't have the final plan yet, but the kind of, there's a lot
Mhm.
of things we can do with that, and we want to talk to the community about what they prefer there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes, I mean initially we're gonna have, at least over here there's a mirror behind the tree if you see where I am. This is just turned off right now, but of course we're gonna allow you to cosmetically change the way you look, uh, which will be probably things you can get through microtransaction, but also, of course, the things that you're actually collecting, like the dungeon loot and all of that. We have talked about, hairstyles and stuff like that. I think there's stuff to explore there, but nothing final yet.
Mm, mm,
I think that's a very really good example that I look at as not something that we would do unless the community clearly is showing that that's what they would like. If the community is like, hey, we really want to do like some kind of a story adventure that focuses on letting us know more about our heroes or something, sure, then cool. But initially, we're just going really focused into the dungeon loop, and then yeah, so that's just another good example of that. Like we'll see what the community is interested in.
mm, mm, mm,
Yeah, definitely. Like we had our closed alpha. What was it? 6 months ago?
mm.
Anyway,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
time ago,
Back in
and
August.
when we had the closed alpha, we forgot to remove the raids tab from our mission table. So, I mean, yeah, we're talking about raids. I think raids is a natural step. It's the same there, though. It's not something that we're going to roll out from the very start. It's, I would say, one of the features that we're eyeing very intently. uh, but similarly, again, like for the health of the game in regards to balancing, I think it's really good to start with getting the 4-player format of dungeons out into the player's hands in the wild for a while, so that we can make sure that we get all of the balancing and tuning knobs right, and the progression systems starting to add those before we increase the complexity. Because I mean, increasing the amount of players you bring a raid, maybe it's players, maybe it's 12. We want to do something a little bit smaller than kind of the classical huge 40-man things, because they're a
Mm,
mess to manage. But there's some added complexity to that, so I think it's healthy for us to kind of make sure that we're delivering top notch on the 4-player content before we get into that.
mm, 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 mm.
I think that's
Yeah,
pretty natural connection.
yeah. Nothing
Mhm.
planned at launch, I don't think,
Hmm.
but we're going to listen to our community and figure out what kind of social tools they want.
Yeah. I mean, the way we're approaching this, and this is like, I think a big part of our philosophy, like I said earlier, like for me personally, growing up, like the developers that have managed to make me feel like I'm with them, making the game together with them, that's just been magic, and I really want us to do that with our community as well. So the way we approach like what happens after early access, we have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of designs pretty fleshed out as well for various features. We've talked about raids, we've talked about guilds. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Exactly how we want to roll that out, that I think is important to have some kind of discourse with the community on, rather than us making up the next like 1 or 2 years of features and then we're kind of
Yeah.
stuck delivering on that, and maybe the players after 2 weeks are saying like, no, we don't want raids, we want Mario Kart or something. It's like, okay, we shouldn't have doubled down on that then. So we're keeping things open, and we really want to do this together with the community.